Okay, you guys, it's been a wild ride. And trust me, it didn't let up too much. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Reunion Part 3 of Married to Medicine. This is Season 7, Episode 18. Listen, we left out we got the first two parts of the reunion last week, and the third part was just as much of a bang. I said, listen, usually when we get 3-part reunions for all reality shows, it's usually one part, either the first part or the second part are generally trash. My Married to Medicine, child. It's why I love the show so much. It has stayed at this level the whole way through. I said, I knew we had a lot to unpack with this reunion because there was so much that was, as it seemed, that was left out from the show. I said, I knew the reunion would be explosive. I didn't expect it to be like this, but hey, whatever. It is what it is. So listen, when we left out, things had just blown up with Simone and Dr. Heavenly. And it just continued to escalate. And funny enough, Simone backed Heavenly all the way back up off of her. All the way back up off of her. Because Heavenly was, trying to really be with it. But truly, there was one statement, I believe, that actually really ended the bull crap. And that was when Simone said, I'm not going to take any more of it. I'm not going to take any more Heavenly stuff. She's been a low down, dirty dog through all this stuff. And it's bad. It's bad. The stuff that Cecil did and the stuff that Heavenly did, it was bad. It should, with friends, that should have never taken place. One, Heavenly, you had no business saying anything to Cecil about things that you and Simone spoke about in confidence. And then to say it publicly was really low down and dirty. But again, Cecil, you had no business trying to embarrass her publicly and all that on Twitter. See, all them Twitter fingers gets folks into trouble. And it is what it is. Your feelings are no better than my feelings. He talked about her having a nasty house, and she talked about him being a jobless ass. And, it is what it is. Once you get a battle, it is what it is. But that's the thing that happens in battles. Sometimes you say things that you can't get back from. Okay? And this is one of them times. But when Simone said, listen, I'm not going to have her keep dragging my husband. And we've seen her do this. Like, she's been doing this for months. Months upon months upon months. You've been continuously throwing little jabs here and there at Cecil, because that's what she does. Cecil, for the most part, for what I see, let it go. And every time we look around, Heavenly's still throwing shots. Well, she said, listen, if she comes for my husband, I'm going to drag Damon right in front of his face. And with that, Heavenly piped down. Did y'all notice it? When she threatened to come at Damon the way that she comes at Cecil, she piped down. And I think Heavenly thought that she would never do that. That Simone would never put herself in that position to come out there like that and do that to Damon. But that's not fair. But again, fighting, hey. But it ain't fair. But she was using that, Oh, well, she won't come after Damon because Damon's so nice. Well, Damon's draggable like everybody else. And when she said every time you see Cecil, he's drunk. Well, he's been out drunk, and he's been out drunk with Damon. I said, because you told us Damon don't get drunk. And Damon is this, and Damon is that, and Damon is so good, and Damon is so above board. Damon wouldn't dare hang out with Cecil. But now we finding out that Damon does hang out with Cecil, and Damon does get drunk. Damon does everything that everybody else does. He's still nice, but he ain't no better than nobody else. And baby, when she threatened to drag Daddy, honey, Heavenly shut her goddamn face. She shut her face. And they actually, the good thing, she came back, and they came together, and they fixed it. They fixed it. They got it fixed. Then they was all back there wrestling. I said, look at them. They are so funny to me. And you know what? As much as, I got the ones that's not my favorites. Okay? And Heavenly has never been one of my favorites. I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with Heavenly. I wasn't crazy about her when she first came. I learned to deal with her. Not to so much to like her, but I learned to deal with her. And I deal with her on the show. She's a part of the show. She's an integral part of the show. We need her because she's messy as hell. But in my life, I wouldn't hang out with Heavenly. I wouldn't. We would clash because that little smart stuff and some of her views on stuff, we would clash. We would definitely clash. And yeah, she got some views on some things that are really, really stupid. And yeah, we would clash. But the only person that truly that I don't think actually sit up in a room with, period, is Mariah. And I know y'all know that. She just ain't my kind of people at all. And I wouldn't even, their whole, her, Lake, Lucy, her husband, I couldn't. That would be too much for me to try to be with them. Heavenly, I'd cuss Heavenly out. Me and Heavenly would have an issue. I'd cuss her out because she would just try it. And Heavenly is one of the people that thinks that she's supposed to be able to say anything she wants to a male, and they don't say anything back. So yeah, me and Heavenly would bump heads. We would definitely bump heads. But Mariah and just that sneakiness, and I ain't gonna go through all of it. But no, I couldn't even. Not at all. But the rest of them, I really do like. Everybody else on the cast, I really like. I don't like Buffy. I don't like Buffy. Flat out. I don't like Buffy. But the core people, Simone, Cecil, Jackie, and her husband, and Scott, and Contessa, and Quad, yeah, we can have a good old kiki. But and Heavenly, you can throw Heavenly into the room, but I probably have to cuss her out. And Damon was cool, but I probably end up having to cuss Damon out because of cussing out Heavenly. But they could be in the room. But Mariah and her crew, that clan, take Shoot Lucy and her offspring and get on out of here, honey. I couldn't do it. Anyway, but when they were over there wrestling on the floor and stuff, I was like, see, they had me cracking up laughing. They're fun. They're fun to watch. I like them. I want to see them win. They're just a mess. I'm like, now look at this. Look at y'all. 20 minutes ago, y'all was ready to tear each other's hair out. Now y'all rolling around on the floor with all y'all good clothes on. You all are crazy. But that's friends. They're friends. And they were able to fix it. They fixed it themselves before they even went back out on stage. And then they were saying, Heavenly said, well, let's agree to, we need to leave the mess, the mess between the women. Leave the mess between the women. Jackie actually has said, yeah, I needed to leave so that they could make up. And they did when Jackie was gone for all of that. She wasn't even in the room. And it fixed itself. So, anyway, everything was cool, but that was the beginning. That was like the first 10, 15 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So, that doggone Andy finishes up with the guys and then brings the girls out onto the stage, bring ladies out onto the stage with their husbands. And then Andy starts talking to Quad. And then there's this whole little thing of, are you still in love with Greg? And he was driving that home again, saying, that Cecil had actually said that Greg still talks about Quad and that he's still in love with Quad. And they said, yeah, when she was backstage, she was crying a little bit. And she didn't say that she's still in love with Greg, but she said, I think she still loves Greg, but I definitely don't feel like she's in love with Greg. Like I think she's really done with Greg, with the fact that Quad Greg dynamic, she's done with that. I don't think she'll ever walk back down that road again. But, as far as love, I think she definitely has love for him. They've been together for so long. Yeah, they were friends at one point. You know what I mean? And she said that she was happy that he feels that their relationship wasn't all bad, that there was good times, that it wasn't just all bad. So, that still made her cry. Anyway, moving on. Then we go into this Quad versus Aiden versus Mariah. This was a whole ball of mess. And this is, again, while I just did that whole spew of negative energy when I talked about dealing with Shoot Lucy and her clan of goons, honey. Honey. Shoot Lucy and that clan of goons. Who could be so bothered, honey? When she sat up there and tried to spin, this, my good folks, is what spinning of a narrative looks like. When she tried to spin that narrative that everybody's against her and her religion and they're disrespected and they're, them wanting to bring forth awareness to the Muslim faith and all that, don't try it. Don't try it. They've been very on board when it comes to your religion. We've learned plenty about Ramadan and all these other things. And don't even try it. Mariah, you trying to make an excuse and trying to spin a narrative around what you did. You all were celebrating Ramadan and y'all used that part of the celebration. It was a family gathering, which is no different than any other gathering. It could have been a backyard picnic. Y'all were doing the exact same things that y'all would have been doing if y'all were in the backyard cooking ribs as y'all were down at that restaurant celebrating Ramadan. Y'all were sitting over there talking about Quad and how much y'all couldn't stand her. Okay? Y'all had kitchen table talk down to the restaurant. And that's all there's to it. And the camera was running. And we got it. And y'all called that woman a hoe. And Mariah kept saying, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. And Quad said, no, you didn't say it, but you upheld it. You were here for it. You condoned it. You did. You did. And Lucy was sitting over there talking about, oh, well, I can say more, but I won't. And this, that, and that. Child, y'all made it about, and they're like, it was like 3 hours. Y'all took like 10 minutes. That was obviously the only interesting 10 minutes of the whole celebration was the time that y'all was talking about Quad. That was the only thing that was going to be interesting to the audience that y'all did. Other than that, y'all sitting there eating. Because, yeah, 3 hours, but they're only going to take the interesting conversation. And they took the information about Ramadan and what it was and what y'all were celebrating and the fact that y'all think the Quad is a happy Ramadan. Praise him, whore. That's what it gave. And then you going to try to spin it into something that ain't nothing to spin it to. It was what it was. Holiday dinner. We down there having kitchen table talk. Quad is enemy number one. We're talking about her today. And that's what it was. And then she tried to spin it. And then they became, because she always becomes the victim. And she got to cry. And she got to do all that old bullshit. Ain't nobody trying to hear it, Mariah. Ain't nobody buying into it. Nobody disrespected Ramadan. Nobody disrespected religion. Aiden, don't you be telling the women to be shutting up. Who the hell are you? You shut up, bald head. You don't be telling nobody nothing. Sitting over there looking simple. I said, no, he didn't. Senator told her, you be quiet. I said, really? Now, you know good and well, if somebody would have said for Mariah to be quiet, she'd have fell all out on the ground crying. I said, oh, really? And Andy didn't really handle it. He turned around and told Quad to shut up. Well, could you be quiet? I said, she did me one. That was good. Because I'd have been quiet all right. I'd have got right on up and left. Call me back. Call me when y'all get done, and I'll come back. I'll be quiet. Because I was like, really, Andy? Did you just turn around and tell her to be quiet, too? Rory told you to shut up, honey. I was like, that was kind of rude. And none of the other castmates liked it. Because the other girls was like, I don't think so. He better not try it with me. But did y'all catch that? Andy told her to shut up, too. He didn't want to hear no more about it either, Quad. Just shut up. Okay, this is the one time when I felt like she should have got real dramatic, and she didn't get too dramatic, but she should have got up and laughed. She should have got up and laughed. I'll be quiet. When they get done, I'll come back. Because I'm not having her husband. See, you should have pulled it, girl. Should have pulled your card. I'm not sitting out there with her husband talking like that to me. I feel threatened. That's what she should have did. She must wasn't thinking. She wasn't thinking real good because I know she could give some drama when she wants to. She wasn't thinking. I think she was appalled at the fact that he even did it. But I'd have pulled it on him, baby. I'd have said, I feel threatened, honey, and I'd have left. I'd have created a whole kerfuffle. Sure would have. Look, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'd have did it. I would have pulled that whole card, honey. I want him to leave. They would have never got the rest of that story out. Or I'd have left. I want him to leave. I feel threatened. Anyway, but he apologized, said, I apologize. No, he meant it. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, but it was just garbage. That was all garbage. Wasn't nobody feeling it. I was like, and everybody was twisting their face up and said, that was, I call BS. It was Victim Gate 2019. Anyway, that's her. Then we moved into Scott and Contessa. And this is what I'm going to say about Scott and Contessa. Scott and Contessa, y'all know I love them. But y'all going to revisit what y'all did. All of this that y'all did this season, y'all are going to revisit all of it. You're going to revisit it. But now, at least you have tools by which to help you work through it. But she still got resentment about choices that have been made throughout that marriage from the beginning. She still is pissed about leaving the Navy and all of that. So they're gonna revisit that because she got to get rid of that resentment. So I hope y'all continue to go to counseling, and I hope y'all don't stop y'all's counseling because Contessa, you got some stuff you got to be able to let go. You got a lot of resentment built up with the way your marriage started. So I think they're going to definitely have some of them problems they're going to revisit. But again, like I said, they got the tools to be able to work through, and I hope they continue doing their counseling. They're going to be okay. Eugene. Old Grimace don't like the Hamburglar to talk about screwing other women. I said, oh. Little insecure. I understand. But that came out. I was like, yeah, I think old Eugene is a little insecure about her past dealings with women. He got some insecurities wrapped around that. I was like, wow. And she was so into it, and people were like looking, they were all looking like, whoa, okay, Toya. Because once she started, she just continued on. Like, I mean, she was giving full-on lesbian tease. I was like, okay, Toya, all right, calm down. Yeah, and it's this one, and I like this one, and yeah, I like this about her. I was like, girl, she giving me full-on lesbian tease. And her husband was uncomfortable as hell. You can see it all in his face. Poor thing. Speaking of insecurities, let's move on to Miss Heavenly. Yeah, I'm back at you again. Poor Heavenly. These next couple years are going to be rough for you, sweetheart. She is so closed-minded when it comes to things that has to do with Alora and Alora growing up. Listen, she's a cute little girl. You are going to have some issues, my love, with this whole thing. But what is she, 14 now? This is that time. When they start talking about, they showed a little clip of Simone at work, and they were talking about the little girl coming in there, and they were talking about birth control, and she was 14 and all of that. Honey, Heavenly was, that got up underneath Heavenly so deep. I said, ooh, girl, you so close-minded when it comes to what your daughter's going to do, you don't know what your daughter's going to do, because your daughter has never been at puberty and dealing with that range of hormones before. You don't know what Alora's going to do. Don't sit up there and say what she'll do and what she wouldn't do, and then have to come sit in front of us and trying to hide stuff later on down the road. You don't know what your kids will do. You don't know how your kids are going to react to them growing up. And your sons, that's a totally different ball of wax. Every kid, male, female, every kid is different. Every kid is different. And hormones sometimes wreaks havoc on a young person. So you don't know. You don't know what Allura is going to do. All you can do is try to be a little more open-minded and keep talking to her. But don't sit. I would hate for, and I don't hate Heavenly or anything like that, but I would hate to have to sit and watch her come back and tell us that Allura done did something that done broke her heart. You know what I mean? I would hate to see that. So, girl, listen. Just chill. Just chill. Just ride the wave, honey, because some stuff gonna go down. Some stuff gonna go down. Hopefully, y'all come out on the upper end of it. But don't be sitting around talking about what your daughter ain't gonna do. I've seen it happen too many times, and it's listen. I know somebody specifically who used to do the same stuff with Heavenly. Oh yes, my daughter. My daughter ain't gonna do none of this. My daughter's this. My daughter's that. My daughter this, that thing, and the other. 13, 14 years old, pregnant than a mug. Pregnant than a champ, honey. And wasn't nothing she could do but walk through it. And she hid it and hid it and hid it until her daughter was dang near getting ready to deliver, honey. And then it was like, the neighborhood was laughing at her. The neighborhood laughed at her for years. For years. They laughed. And I think them conversations still come up. But that daughter's grown now. Them conversations still come up about how my daughter ain't gonna do this, my daughter ain't gonna do, always comparing her daughter to other people's daughters and this, that thing, and the other. Honey, first one in the litter to have a litter. I said, So don't put yourself in that position. Just ride the wave, keep the line of communications open, and don't be so stern and acting so crazy. Just raise the child. Raise the child and just roll with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't set yourself up. You on TV. Don't set yourself up, girl. Anyway, moving on. Enough of that, honey. Poor thing. And don't do it with your husband either. You need to stop doing that with what Damon will do and what Damon won't do. Anyway, moving on. Okay. So, at the end, they were wrapping everything up, putting a nice little bow on it, and everybody's fine. Everybody fine, like they always are at the end of the reunion. And then Mariah Huck decided to give her closing statement. And that heifer sat over there and said, well, I've forgiven everyone. I've forgiven everyone. God bless you, Mariah, girl. I don't even have nothing bad to say. Girl, welcome to Married to Medicine, Season 7, Victim Gate, starring Mariah Huck. She's forgiven everybody because she ain't did nothing to nobody. Everybody did something to her, and she's forgiven them all. See y'all next season.